Hi there, Medical Wildcats. I'm Joseph Guggenheim. I'm a 1972 alum of the medical school, and this month my topic is Who's Who in the Northwestern Neighborhood. This is part two of my series about some of the names we see around the neighborhood. In the past, I've done the Lurys, the Prentices, the Wards, the Abbotts, and some others. Today I'll do four more luminaries, including Alexander McClurg, for whom McClurg Court Street is named. This is the north-south street that is on the west side of Lakeshore Place, which used to be known as the American Furniture Mart. Dead ends into Huron Street. Foster McGaw, for whom the McGaw Medical Center is named. Searle Medical Research Building, which was named for the Searle family. Four generations of them were executives at this drug company, including Daniel Searle, who was the COO when the building was dedicated in 1966. And the Lavin family, Leonard, the patriarch of the family, Carol Lavin Burnick, his daughter, and his late wife, Bernice Burnick, for whom 259 East Erie is named. Let's first meet Alexander McClurg. He was born and raised in Pennsylvania. He was a graduate of Miami of Ohio University. He moved to Chicago in 1859. He studied law under the Chief Justice of Pennsylvania, but he was forced to quit because of health problems. During the Civil War, he became a hero in the Atlanta campaign, and he was promoted to brigadier general. The Union Army begged him to make a career of the military, but he declined this offer. Instead, he founded A.C. McClurg and Company, a company that published and distributed books. He established the leading literary magazine in the United States in 1880, The Dial, which published works by T.S. Eliot, Ezra Pound, and Gertrude Stein. At the time of his death, A.C. McClurg and Company was one of the largest book and stationery stores in the country. But they also sold unrelated items like fishing tackle, pipes, glassware, pocket knives, lanterns, and other products. The store closed in 1962. It eventually evolved into Crocs and Brentanos, which was a very large bookstore on Wabash Street that was present when I was a student at Northwestern. The most lucrative publishing venture of the McClure Company was the Tarzan series, written by Edgar Rice Burroughs. The first one was published in 1914, Tarzan of the Apes. The sale of Edgar Rice Burroughs' books eventually exceeded over 5.6 million copies. McClurg married Eleanor Wheeler, the wealthy nurse of Chicago's first mayor, William Ogden. They lived in a mansion at 1444 North Lakeshore Drive. This home was later occupied by the Polish consulate, and then it later turned into a condominium. McClurg must not have learned too much in his legal studies because he died without a will. He died due to Bright disease. Now let's meet Foster McGaw. McGaw grew up in Iowa. His father was a Presbyterian minister and missionary and was absent from home a lot because of his missionary work. McGaw said that his father reminded him of the Apostle Paul. McGaw's grandfather was a physician, however. McGaw left Iowa for Chicago on the night of his high school graduation. He sold surgical instruments out of Chicago and then joined the Marines. After the Marines, he returned to Chicago to start his own hospital supply company, the American Hospital Supply Corporation in Evanston, when he was only 25. He decided that it was more lucrative to sell surgical instruments to hospitals and hospital associations instead of to individual surgeons. American Hospital Supply was later purchased by Baxter Travenol Laboratories. He joined the University Board of Trustees in 1950. He was a golfing buddy of the university president, J. Roscoe Miller. Miller told McGaw that Northwestern needed a basketball stadium. They were playing their basketball games at Evanston High School. McGaw said he wasn't too keen on athletics, but when Miller told him that the Council of Churches was going to have their national meeting in the Chicago area, McGaw decided that that was something that he liked and wanted to help. So he funded McGaw Memorial Hall in honor of the memory of his father. This was the largest assembly area north of the Chicago Loop. McGaw's first wife died, and then he remarried, and his second wife was a Northwestern alumna. They donated to 17 other universities. They endowed the McGaw Medical Center in 1966. He and his wife donated over $100 million to 300 institutions. He wanted the bulk of his assets to be distributed before his death and said that the wealth he acquired was property belonging to God, and he was only God's steward in the management of this property. He gave the Millard Chapel on the Evanston campus to honor the memory of his mother. This structure has absolutely fantastic stained glass windows. His mother was a concert pianist who performed for Queen Victoria once. He said that this structure should be a haven where students could refresh themselves through meditation and devotion, regardless of religious tradition or spirituality. He also funded the Vale Chapel on the Evanston campus, just south of the Millard Chapel, in memory of his stepdaughter, Jean Vale, who died of polio at age 24 after just giving birth to a child. She was a graduate of Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Denison University in Ohio, and the family was very generous toward Denison also. The Searle family was directed by 4 generations, and they funded the Searle building, which you can see at the black arrow in this view from Superior Street. You can see the tower of the Ward building just below the black arrow. Daniel Searle was the COO of the company at the time of the dedication of the building, as seen on the left. As I said, this was a company directed by 4 generations. The first generation was the druggist Gideon Daniel Searle, who founded GD and Searle Company in Omaha, Nebraska in 1888. He sold preparations to local doctors and druggists. He was encouraged by a friend of his, a successful druggist named Eli Lilly. His father helped establish a congregational church. The company was moved to Chicago in 1890. The second generation of Searles was Claude Howard Searle, who was the son of Gideon. He took over the company upon the death of Gideon in 1917. He was a practicing physician. He was very successful in selling pharmaceuticals during World War I when patented medicines from Germany were unavailable. He focused on dispensing medicines in the Midwest. And the picture on the right shows the Searle family gravestone at the cemetery in Skokie, Illinois. The third generation of Searles was John Gideon Searle, who became president and CEO in 1936. He was trained as a pharmacist, having obtained his degree from the University of Michigan. He kept the company viable during the Depression by cutting back on some of the products that were not very did not earn much and kept the better earning ones. The company at that time developed Dramamine, Metamucil, and Banthine. The CEO of Abbott Laboratories was a golfing buddy of his, and they considered a merger between the two companies in 1963, but then decided against it. John questioned the business acumen of his 2 sons, Daniel and William. Daniel became the COO and president of the company, and William, his younger brother, was vice president of marketing. Interestingly, Daniel died of emphysema and William died of lung cancer. The Searle Company had many successes, including the first oral contraceptive in 1960, an artificial sweetener, aspartame, which was discovered in 1965 and was approved by the FDA for widespread use in 1981. Monsanto acquired the Searle Company for $7.2 billion in 1985. The arthritis drug Celebrex, a COX-2 inhibitor, was introduced in 1999 and became the most successful new drug launch in the history of our country. Then Monsanto bought Pfizer in 2002. So there's no Searle Drug Company in the United States any longer. The company also had several setbacks. They were accused of human testing the oral contraceptive on impoverished Puerto Rican women. Aspartame was discovered to have a short shelf life and released methanol at high temperatures. There were congressional hearings that were televised, which publicized the association between flagell and tumors in mice, and also the danger of aldactone. The copper 7 intrauterine device was associated with pelvic infections, and the company was accused of distorting or withholding data. Former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld was brought on board. He was the first non-Searle family member to reverse to become president, and he was brought to reverse the company's downslide. John Searle, the pharmacist in the third generation, said that we should approach our work in a true scientific manner, assume that nothing is perfect and that everything can be improved. In this way, we should always do a better job and therefore make a better future with more opportunity and great security. The company has been very generous. They donated the Searle building to Northwestern in 1965. And between 2006 and 2011, the Searle funds made a series of 3 grants totaling $25 million to Northwestern, University of Chicago, and University of Illinois to enable Chicago to become a leader in medical research. The family is known for supporting conservative causes. The Searle Freedom Trust was established to support Daniel's idea of a free enterprise conservative. He said that the funding for the policies would encourage the restoration of personal responsibility to its central place in American life and limit government's responsibility for those areas the founding fathers intended. If we public policy produces people understanding that there is no such thing as a free lunch, we will have made great strides. He wrote that the fund would close down after spending all its assets at the end of 2025 because he did not want future directors of the fund to deviate from his mission. The Searle Freedom Trust now donates millions to conservative causes. It is one of the top funders for groups that oppose climate change. They advocate against policies that address climate change and believe that global warming in this century will be more beneficial than harmful for humanity, and that climate change science is deeply flawed. Now let's meet the Lavin family. Leonard Lavin, the patriarch, was born in Chicago, attended University of Washington on a basketball scholarship. At first, he was a deodorant salesman. He purchased Alberto VO5 Company in 1955 for $400,000. He pioneered the use of 15-second and 30-second television commercials, saying that he could get all the information in a 30-second commercial that other companies were doing in a 60-second, so he could have twice as many commercials. And then he went to 15-second commercials. This did not sit well with television stations or advertising agencies. Two of his big shows that he supported were the Smother Brothers and What's My Line. He also raised thoroughbred racehorses. Alberto Culver Company was a small West Coast company that made Alberto VO5, a hair product for actors working under harsh lights. Blaine Culver owned the company, and Alberto was a chemist and hairdresser. In 1955, Louis and Bernice Lavin bought the company for $400,000. At that time, he had to borrow the money to buy the company. Alberto VO5 was their first product, and its name was derived from 5 vitamin oils. According to the company's website, the 5 oils include sunflower seed, mango seed, sweet almond, rosemary leaf, chamomile flower. It also, according to the website, contains these 5 vitamins. It is a water-free hair conditioner. Over the years, the company acquired other companies, including Sally Beauty, which they later spun off, and made many cosmetic and skin products. including the first ethnic hair products, TCB, Consort hairspray, the first hairspray designed specifically for men, and many household and cooking products, as shown below, and even furniture polish. The company was purchased by Unilever in 2011. Leonard would also skip school sometimes to go to the racetrack because he was a fan of thoroughbred racing. He established the Glen Hill Farms near Orlando in 1966. He soon discovered that the best horses, the purchase of the best horses was restricted to the big players, and he was not one of them. So he bought yearlings at bargain prices and did his own matings, and was quite successful. The farm was a site for raising horses and also for family holiday gatherings. His daughter, Carol, was the executive chair of Alberto Culver. She was on the board and chairperson of many organizations. She was named National Working Mother of the Year, and she oversaw the sale of Alberto Culver to Unilever in 2011. Bernice Lavin, who passed away in 2007, was Lewis's wife. They met at a dance in 1947 in the summer, and by October, they were married. She was vice president, treasurer, director, and corporate secretary of the company, and she tended to the internal operations of the company in the early days. She was named as one of the highest ranking women in U.S. business by Fortune magazine. She became interested in healthcare and rehabilitation after she had an episode of septic arthritis as a child. The Early Childhood Education Center at Northwestern is named in her honor. Tragically, she passed away after a lengthy illness, and one of her sons passed away after a drug overdose. It is very rare to see Leonard Lavin in a picture where he's not smiling. I had the idea that he really enjoyed life. He said the three most important things were his family, having a healthy life, and having a great job with purpose. One of the racetrack owners where his horses race said that he went all the way. Second was not good enough. And one of his philosophies was winners make it happen, losers let it happen. I'd like to thank Katie Littell of the Galter Health Sciences Library for her assistance with this project. And let's get together again digitally next month. And in the meantime, stay healthy, stay connected, and I look forward to our virtual meeting next month. Thank you.